The polls show only one party outperforming in the polls, at least, even though most journalists ignore or kick it. It's Pauline Hanson's One Nation. 8% in the latest news poll, more than double its support just before the last election. Why? Is that because both major parties are on the nose? Is it because, as it seems to me, it might have stronger candidates this time than usual? I've talked on the show to some of them. I mean, Lee Hanson, Pauline's daughter, standing in Tasmania, or Stuart Bonds, very impressive on global warming policy, and Italian immigrant Bianca Collecchia, very articulate. In fact, One Nation is getting almost respectable, and so much so that the Liberals have favoured it with its preferences in some critical states, like Queensland and Tasmania, which seem to upset some journalists today.
Now, John Howard made a concerted decision to preference One Nation last. Why are you preferencing One Nation second in the majority of electorates across the country?
Well, we've taken a decision that we want to make sure that Australians can preference us first. That's the most important way to be able to change this government, and I want to make sure that we can change the government so we can get our country back on track.
You're joining me as One Nation leader Pauline Hanson. Pauline, great to see you. Look, I don't want to put the moz on you and, don't count your chickens and all that, but you are doing remarkably well in the polls so far. How do you explain it?
Andrew, I'll put it this way. It's about 29 years to the day that I was first elected to Parliament. It's called resilience, honesty, integrity and standing by what I believe in is best for the Australian people. My fight has been for Australia and its people. And I've been so consistent in what my message has been. It hasn't changed whatsoever. And I just believe in this country is ready for change. They're fed up with the two major political parties. They want change. They don't trust the politicians. They're sick of the lies. They've had enough of everything. They want someone who's going to be upfront, honest with them, and I have always been that. They want someone who's going to fight for them and, the future generations. Also, there's no vision for this country, Andrew. It's just, the politicians are there up until the next term. People want long-term vision. They want to know what's going to happen for them and the future generations. And that's what I try and bring to the table with my policies that I put out in February. Common sense policies for the people.
Well, it's interesting, Pauline. It seems to me that, I thought you might suffer from Clive Palmer's stupid Trumpet of Patriots party, but that seems to have blown a gasket. That they'd take votes off you doesn't seem to happen. Are you gaining from the very poor campaign of the coalition?
I think, Andrew, really, if you have a look at our policies, what we're offering the Australian people, right? Pensioners, aged pensioners and veterans can work unlimited hours without affecting their pensions that they've worked hard for, entitled to, or their benefits that goes with it. Income splitting, to allow those people to actually split their income. So maybe one partner wants to stay home from work to look after their at least one dependent child. So it's saving up to $10,000 on an income of $120,000 in the house. Or independent self-funded retirees. Why not give them some relief? Raise it from $18,500 up to $35,000. These are policies that are going to help everyday Australians out there with the cost of living crisis that we're going through. Peter Dutton's picked up a lot of my policies. The fuel excise tax was my policy. The superannuation scheme for housing, my policy. Stopping foreign ownership of our housing, my policy, which the Labor Party picked up as well. Everything that I've put together is in the benefit of this country and for the people. Like I said, I'm true to my word. I stand by what I say. I don't backpedal. What I've said years ago has happened in Australia, and people saying, she warned us about this. I think my credibility after nearly 30 years in politics people are starting to wake up to what I'm trying to do for the country.
Oh, maybe you just got a little bit more respectable, Pauline. I don't want to frighten you by saying something like that, but is it in part... I was raising the possibility that the Trump factor had scared Peter Dutton off the culture wars that had helped him, fighting the Voice, scared him off it, leaving the field open to you to actually talk about culture war factors, cultural values.
That's it. What you're saying is true. No one wants to. Jacinta Price got out there and said, make Australia great again. She had to be quiet because David Littleproud said it was a slip of the tongue. Well, I'll scream it from the rooftops. Make Australia great again. We used to have all this industries, manufacturing in the country. Where's all that? Where's the pride who we are as Australians? You can't even fly the flag. You can't even, celebrate Australia Day without this division that's happening, or, Anzac Day, what we saw last Friday. The division that is happening in this country has to stop. We are all Australians and should be treated equally and the same. And I'll keep pushing that. If I have any legacy to leave in this country, it will be about equality for all Australians, that we're proud of who we are as a nation and build on that with the prosperity and what we can now hand on to future generations.
Pauline Hanson, it's been remarkable how well you've been doing in the polls, at least. Like I say, don't count your chickens. But it's also remarkable that no one else has commented on it. That's incredible. Thank you very much for your time.